After the episode about ultra-processed food aired, I received multiple questions regarding artificial and natural sweeteners. There are several alternatives to sugar. Initially, the industry focused on high fructose corn syrup. Everybody knows that this one in particular is associated with severe metabolic derangements. So they are trying to look for alternatives different than that. One of those alternatives is alcohol. So there are specific types of alcohol, some of them derived directly from sugar, such as xylitol. So xylitol is a sweetener that has gained popularity because it's not associated with the dental problems. So there are several products of oral hygiene and also chewing gum that is actually sold as advantageous because it preserves oral health. When we look into the xylitol in particular, we see that this is an alcohol that is present in some fruits and vegetables in negligible amounts. It can even be synthesized by the body also in negligible amounts as part of metabolism of glucose via the glucuronide pathway. So at the industrial level, the amount of xylitol can be increased 1,000-fold and it can be added to foods. The positive effect is that it prolongs the shelf life of certain foods and also the equivalency in terms of sweetness when you compare it with sugar. So it's an attractive option. And so far, everybody thought that this was safe. However, there is a study published this month, June 2024, in the European Heart Journal that is titled Xylitol is prothrombotic and associated with cardiovascular risk. This study was published by a group in the Cleveland Clinic in Ohio. So this is actually an interesting one because the hypothesis is that the xylitol is associated with cardiovascular disease, and the mechanism by which this association happens has to do with a prothrombotic effect. To try to test this hypothesis, they made like a composite of several studies. They took blood samples from patients that were included in other cohort studies in an amount of 1,157 patients that were followed up over time, over 3 years. They analyzed the blood samples initially with the gas chromatography to try to identify alcohols similar to sugar that were associated with the major adverse cardiovascular events. And they found a strong association between the levels of these alcohols and these events. The major cardiovascular events were myocardial infarction and death. So it's very clear that that there is an association. To try to make this association even better, they evaluated with the liquid chromatography the xylitol specifically, not just alcohols, but just that substance in particular. And they found that the xylitol is also associated with major adverse cardiac events with a hazard ratio of 1.57, so 55% extra morbidity when you compare the upper tertile with the lower tertile. So the association definitely exists. To try to evaluate the mechanistic effect of this xylitol, They used a concentration similar to the ones found in the ultra processed food. They administered that to mice, and they found that there is a prothrombotic effect, and this was corroborated in healthy volunteers whose blood was assessed for platelet function, and they found that the platelets are like more sticky. So this association of prothrombosis, it can be the cause for the association between the xylitol and cardiovascular morbidity. What is the conclusion? Well, xylitol is not as innocuous as initially thought, and it should be considered twice before you make the decision to consume this product, because over the long term, it is associated with serious cardiovascular morbidity. I hope this information is useful and you can incorporate it into your lifestyle. See you in the next episode.